at the age of like 17, I was literally asked to leave the family home, and I went to go and live with, a girlfriend that I was with at the time. And then after that, I didn't have anywhere else to go. What do I now do? So I found myself literally homeless. Hello and welcome to the first ever Serious About Success podcast. Okay, this is an absolutely great day. I'm very proud that we've now launched this podcast with me. So my name is Jay Anthony Hastings, and what we're going to be doing each and every week, we're going to be talking about what it really takes to achieve success. Okay, now that can be success from a financial point of view. However, that can also just be, what does it really take to be a successful person? I mean, what does that really even mean? To be a successful man, to be a successful woman, what does that really mean? We're going to be talking about this a lot, okay? So every single week, you're either going to have me here, just getting some things off my chest in relation to what success really means. But in addition to that, I've also interviewed lots of very successful people. And the vast majority of successful people that you will see me interviewing, everybody literally started from nothing, okay? So what does it really take to go from nothing? If you want to achieve financial freedom, you want a lot of flexibility in your life. All right, fantastic. Well, come on then, let's do it. However, what does it really, really, really take to get there? Starting from nothing. And, you might be surprised, with some of the things of what you might hear in terms of who you need to become. Because, that's one of the key messages of, what it is that I teach. I've been teaching, mindset and business planning and holding people accountable, stuff like that. I've been doing that for many years now. And, we've literally coached thousands of people around the world, everywhere from the UK to Australia to the US to, around Europe, even in places like Mauritius and, Greece and places like that. So we've literally coached thousands of people, around the world. And one of the things that come up quite a lot is, people don't always really fully understand exactly the level of commitment and who you need to be in order for you to go on to achieve success. So, make sure you stay tuned to these podcasts, because like I say, you'll have me, you'll have these interviews, but in addition to that, you'll also have regular conversations with, me and some other people. We've got Hazel, who I'm going to have regular conversations with, and we just have very interesting chats about all sorts, the system, the government, the matrix, how things really work, things like that, so make sure you stay tuned in for things like that. All right. Now we're going to kick off today's podcast with, talking about, certain laws that are really important when it comes down to achieving success. So you're going to hear a lot of this type of stuff from me. And, one of the laws that is really important to really understand in terms of what is required to really get to where it is that you want to be. And, that is to make sure that you have a lot of honesty within yourself about who you are and where you currently are at right here, right now. So what do I mean by that? Now, look, we've all got a story, right? Every single one of us have got a story about, how we've got to wherever it is that you are in life right here, right now. No doubt you've had ups and downs just like everybody else. And, my story is no different. I come from a single parent household. My mum did the best possible job that she possibly could. She really genuinely did. But, I wasn't always the easiest, teenager, so, at the age of like 17, I was literally asked to leave the family home, and I went to go and, live with, a girlfriend that I was with at the time, and that lasted for about a year. And then after that, I didn't have anywhere else to go. So for me, it was like, okay, well, I've split up with my girlfriend now. What do I now do? So I found myself literally homeless. I didn't have anywhere to go. And I was trying to, speak to the government to see if they would give me any type of, how do I get an apartment? How do I get a government funded apartment? Something like that. But, that wasn't working out for me. So it was like, well, what do I do? I'm now literally on the street. So one of my friends, he had said that his sister and her boyfriend was living in what can only really be described as a squat. So like a derelict, property. And I'm like, okay, well, look, I haven't got nowhere else to go. So I'm going to go and stay there, So that's exactly what it was that I did. So, in my early 20s, my late teens, my early 20s, I was literally living in a derelict building. And although it sounds really doom and gloom, at the time you're young, right? I was young. So, there was elements of it that was quite fun. I'm on my own, like I could do whatever I want. But, I really understood what it took to make money stretch. So, I could, make £1 last for about 2 weeks, and I mean it because, I didn't have any money. I really didn't, I was fortunate enough to be able to get, what we called job seekers allowance, the dole money, so every 2 weeks I was able to get maybe £80 every 2 weeks. And that was it. That was that was the money that I had to last, So, I've had times where I would be eating, baked beans with the little hot dog sausage in the baked beans and stuff like that. I'd have that for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, so I've experienced all of those type of situations. And, my mindset, them days were, very much, I felt very hard done by. It's like, oh man, like, I'm in a situation like, oh man, geez, like, why me? Like, oh man, so I very much felt hard done by. So, however, going from that to, really wanting to make something of my life, because yes, growing up wasn't always easy. So, growing up, my blueprint around money was that money is not for people like me. This is what I was taught, that money doesn't grow in trees. Money, is the root of all evil. Money is not for, people with my ethnic background, or if you're going to have money, then you know what, you're going to have to do something really unlawful to get that. Now, these were the types of things of what I was learning growing up. And, I want you to think about, this in terms of, your own upbringing, I mean, what did you hear when you was growing up? Because, sometimes we want to achieve success. It's like, well, hang on a minute, I really want to achieve this. However, what have we been conditioned to think around these topics of success? And if, as we're growing up, we're not really, taught that money is great. Money is, adds to elements of your abundance. Money is, it's, everyone deserves to be successful. Now, if we don't, if we're not growing up in that environment, and then all of a sudden we get to the age of 20 or 30 or 40 or whatever, and then we're like, okay, right, now I want to make all this money. Well, what about the previous programming? What about the past programming that we have had, from our real crucial ages of growing up, between 0 and 7 years old? What was we learning? Because this will set our blueprint for the rest of our lives. So, we might, think in our minds, yeah, right, I just want to go and achieve the success and it's going to be easy, or, all I've got to do is one of these, get rich quick, things that I might see online, However, there's so much more to it than that. So much more. And what I mean by that is sometimes when we're conditioned to not really achieve success, like, I was taught that, money certainly doesn't grow on trees, and money, look at those filthy rich people, them stinking rich people. So money wasn't a positive thing, because the people that have got money, they're stinking, right? They're stinking rich, they stink. And the thing is that I don't want to stink, right? Oh, I don't want to be filthy. I don't want to be known as being evil. So as a result of that, what you'll end up doing, or what I even found myself doing, was sabotaging any element of success. I'm going to sabotage it, right? Of course. Because if I actually go on to achieve the success of what it is I'm saying I want to achieve, as you get older, yeah, I want the nice car, I want this, I want that. However, to really now go out and get that somewhere deep rooted, deep down inside, well, hang on a minute, hang on. Well, if I achieve these things, then other people are going to see me as being filthy or evil or unlawful or something, some negative association around money. So guess what we end up doing? Guess what I end up doing? Sabotaging yourself so that you then don't even go on to achieve that level of success, because if you achieve that success, then, you're going to be labeled. And this is it. So sometimes we've got to really look at, well, what is going on within our own psychology? What's going on? Because, a part of that sabotage, I said that, I'm going to touch on, elements of honesty today. And some of that sabotage will then result in lots of excuses. And believe it or not, from coaching so many people over so many years, I've had every single excuse that you could possibly imagine as to why, we're not achieving the success that we want. Jay, the thing is, I want to achieve success. I want to achieve the success that we're talking about, right? I want to go on. I want to make, tens of thousands of pounds or dollars every month. I want to be a millionaire, right? I really want to do it, Jay. Yeah, I really want to do it, yeah. But the thing is, Jay, oh man, Jay, the thing is, you never guess what happened to me, Jay, right? I was going to do it, yeah. Everything that we spoke about, right? I was going to do it, yeah. But, I had to take the dog for a walk, Jay. Oh, man, it was my wife's birthday. Oh, Jay, oh, man. I had to do extra work. I had to do some more time at work. Oh, Jay. My grandparents, they came over from Canada. I had to go and pick them up from the airport. There's always a reason why. There's always something that is going on that is getting in the way as to why we're not going to go on to just take the action of what it is that we're required to take in order for us to achieve what it is that we're trying to achieve. And we don't always see what's going on. We don't see that, the excuses of what it is that we're making here is just all a part of our own sabotage. And that sabotage might be down to, well, do I really believe in myself that I'm really going to make it? Or, again, I might have deep-rooted negative associations when it comes down to achieving money. And remember, this is not just about money. This could be in other aspects of your life. This could be in relation to relationships, for example. I mean, look, me personally, I fully understand this really well. If you've had a relationship with me over the years at some point, no doubt, you're going to fully get what it is that I'm saying here. Growing up, again, where's your good examples of, successful people or successful relationships or success in aspects of your life? When you don't see that level of success, then you might then start thinking to yourself, deep-rooted, subconsciously, does it really exist? So I know myself that I've sabotaged plenty of relationships because it's like, well, where's the good examples of relationships growing up? Well, guess what? They haven't been there. So from where they haven't been there, relationships always come to an end. That's the deep-rooted conditioning. Relationships always come to an end, don't they? Because, everyone gets divorced. Relationships are not an easy place. A household is not an easy place to, have safety and tranquility. No. A household is, full of turmoil and, friction and, just uncomfort. So because of that, remember what your deep-rooted conditioning, your deep-rooted wiring, what that really looks like. Because what we'll then do is that will now play out in your life. But the thing is you won't even know that you're doing it. You won't even realize because the conscious mind is saying, oh, yeah. Like, I'm going to have this great relationship. I'm going to have, the 2 kids, I'm going to have the nice house. I'm going to have the perfect wife or the perfect husband. And I'm going to have everything and it's all good. And we're going to have a dog and we're going to have a cat. We're going to have a nice garden, all that stuff. However, again, the conditioning might not lend itself to that. So from where the conditioning might not lend itself to that, what do we end up doing? We end up sabotaging ourselves so that we don't achieve that. And we don't know what's going on because we're not always completely, fully aware and honest with ourselves. Now, I'm not saying that's anyone's fault, because at the end of the day, this ultimately comes down to a level of self-awareness. And if you really want to achieve success in your life, regardless whether or not that's financial, relationships, maybe even parenting. I've seen this firsthand with some people that I know. And what I mean by that is that their childhood wasn't very well, and they, can't help but project elements of their own sabotage onto their own kids. But they don't always realize what they're doing. They don't always realize it. I remember growing up in my household, and me and my mum had a heart-to-heart, several years ago. And again, I'm not blaming my mum for anything here. Yeah, just remember this, right? But, we had a heart-to-heart, a number of years ago now. And, my mum was like, oh, I didn't realize that you felt like that, Jay. Because that's exactly how I felt when I was growing up. So, sometimes there's a cycle, you see. There's a cycle. And, we don't always realize when we're caught up in the same cycle. Just like my mum, she didn't realize how I felt growing up or how I felt now that I'm an adult and the relationship of what I had with her. She doesn't realize that, well, hang on a minute, I felt like maybe how she felt when she was young, but she didn't realize what was being projected onto me, what she was projecting onto me, because again, it comes down to a level of self-awareness. And, this comes from a place of you now looking within, looking inside of you in terms of to really try and identify, well, what's really going on? What's really going on within our own psychology? And sometimes that's a scary place. Because if we really look at what is going on within, if we really now look at this, we might not like what it is that we see. And if we don't like what it is that we see, well, it's like, well, we don't want to face it because it's too painful. So instead of facing that pain, because looking in is just too painful, so instead of doing that, let's make up excuses. Let's create a facade. That's not me. That's not me. No. That's not me. We create a facade. And what that facade now looks like is whatever it is that we now try and create. And remember, it's the conscious mind that is creating this facade. And that facade is, well, no, I'd never do that. I'm perfect. I'd never treat anyone like that, or whatever it may well be. I don't make excuses. No, Jay, I don't make excuses, right? But the thing is, the reason why I'm not successful, because I had to take the dog for a walk. But I'm not making up no excuses, because I wouldn't do that, Jay. I wouldn't do that. That's what happens. So I need you to, again, really think about, just like how I had to really think about, well, who am I? In my early years, it's like, well, look, when I then started, coming into my 20s and, and I'm thinking to myself, well, who am I? Because look, at the time I'm living in, the derelict property.
Hi, I hope you're enjoying the podcast. Don't worry, we've got lots more content left to come. This is just a quick word from me. Now, you will hear I speak a lot about things like mentorship, as well as that, surrounding yourself with the right people. Now, one of the other things, if you really want to achieve the financial success, what makes it helpful is to have things like accountability. This can be the difference between you making it and you really not really quite getting there. Now, if you're at the start of your journey, you want to maybe leave your 9-to-5 day job, or you're just in the process of starting up a business, I would like you to come and check out our website, www.seriousaboutsuccess.com. Over the years, we have coached thousands of people all around the world. We speak on BBC Radio as their go-to guy for anything related to mentorship. It's very important for you to have that helping hand along the way. So come and check out our website, sign up for our free training, and we'll show you exactly what it takes for you to succeed. Now back to the podcast.
And I have to ask myself, well, who am I? Who am I really? Because you know what? I'm going down the route of having a lifestyle that is not very abundant. I'm going to go down, a path here of being more of a loser. I'm smoking weed every single day, and I'm like, well, hang on a minute. Well, is this going to be productive towards me achieving success? But my ego wanted to be like, yeah, I'll be all right. Yeah, I'm fine. Yeah. That's what my ego wanted to tell me. However, like I say, I had to look at myself and I'm like, well, no, I want to be more than what it is that I can see right here, right now. I want to be more than this. I want to be more than just, living in this place that hasn't got no heating, hasn't got no hot water, that is just filthy. It is just a mess. I want more than this. But who do I need to become? Not what circumstances need to arise, what other people need to do for me. It's not about that. Who do I need to become? So looking within, is a really important thing that, we all must do if we are serious about success. And remember, I'm talking about in any aspect of your life here. So, for me, it was like, okay, right, I've got to get myself a job. I've got to sort myself out. Because again, I'm looking within and it's like, well, you know what? Next Thursday, I'll never, ever, ever forget that day. Next week, Thursday, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. When I get my government check, when I get that government check, I'm going to get myself a job. So I'm 20 years old now, yeah? And I'm like, I'm going to get myself a job. So I put on the one suit. I waited for that Thursday. I put on the one suit that I had and I walked the streets of London trying to find me a job. That day or the day after that, I got myself a little temping job. It was on minimum wage. I think them days, what was it? It must have been about, I don't know, £3 or £4 an hour or something like that. Jeez. But you got to start from somewhere. And then, I then got another job from there and then I got another job and then I started my career, in a corporate company, an insurance company, just in the call center. But by this time here, I'm thinking to myself, look, I want success. I want to be successful. I don't want to be a bum. I really don't. So when I started that corporate company now, I'm now working there in the call center, but I'm like, look, no, this is my career. I'm ready for this. And I remember there was a lady, her name was Stephanie. She did the induction. When you go and you have the induction and everything. And, she was saying that, you know what, this is not just a job here. This is a career. And, I'm looking around, you've got people like, they're playing on their phone, and whatever, like, yeah, whatever. And I'm sitting there, I'm thinking to myself, yeah, this is me. This is it. Yeah, this is it. Yeah, this is me, because I need to make something of myself and it needs to come from somewhere. It's got to come from somewhere. So, getting started working at that insurance company, it was Churchill Insurance for those of you that know it. And I was very dedicated. I'm like, you know what? I want to be an executive director. There was a guy, his name was Andy, there was a guy called Andy Webb, and I really liked this guy. And, I was really inspired by him. And I used to look at this guy and he was so slick. He was so slick. He was an executive director and he was slick. He drove a Lamborghini and I'm just like, I want to be like him. I want to be like him. So I worked really hard, in that corporate job. And people used to be like, oh yeah, I'm kissing ass, because I was right in there with the management. People be like, oh yeah, Jay Hastings, he's kissing ass, yeah, he's kissing ass. That's what he used to say. He's kissing ass, yeah. Just to try and elevate himself. But I'm like, no, I don't give a shit. This is who I need to become. I need to be somebody that I don't want to surround myself with, everybody else that's just in the call center that is not necessarily got plans to go on to achieve a lot of success, because I know where I want to be. I want to be Andy Webb. I want to be like him. I want to drive that Lamborghini like him. I want that success. But there was still a long way to go, to again really now, change my whole perception of, what money really is and how do you attract it. So within a year or so, I was made, a manager. I was made a team leader. I loved it. I was like 21 years old. I'm now a team leader. So now I can really now start, getting myself in order, like I can move out of the squat that I was living in and I can, get myself a decent living and all the rest of it. Yeah. And then go on from there. But like I say, there was still a journey to go on. That wasn't it. That's not just it. Because yes, you can work your way up the ladder which is fine. And that's what it was that I was doing. But how do you really get to a level of success of where I am financially and I am time free? Because although, them days there, okay, working my way up the ladder, by the age of 24, I was like, the equivalent of the assistant manager in the department and stuff like that and all this type of stuff. However, that's the easy route, to be honest with you. Entrepreneurship is a little bit different. And, I really decided that at the age of 25 that was the route that I really wanted to take. However, who was I? Who was I in that space? And I realized that, I'm not quite there, because I was making up, I still was finding myself, making excuses about, I've been able to achieve an element of, success in the day job, I guess, but, am I really confident enough to now step out into the real world and be a business owner? At the time, in my conscious mind, you know what? I'm going to be the ultimate level of success. I'm going to be a millionaire, yeah? But that deep inner voice that, again, a lot of the time we don't even realize is there, or we don't listen to it, or we just try and suppress it, because our conscious mind, we live in our conscious minds, right? We think our conscious minds is the be all and end all. Remember, anyone can say anything. I'm going to fly to the moon tomorrow, yeah? I'm going to fly to the moon. I'm then going to go to planet Mars. I'm going to top up my suntan on planet Mercury. Yeah, I'm going to cool off on Neptune or somewhere like that, yeah? And then I'm going to come back home tomorrow and have lunch at midday, yeah? Anyone can say anything. And this is what I was saying to myself. Oh yeah, I'm going to do this. But that deep inner voice was, well, really? Really? Because remember, money is the root of all evil, remember. Remember that filthy and stinking rich. But again, we don't want to really listen to that. No, let's suppress it. No. And just live in the conscious mind. But then remember, the excuses, then start coming up. The excuses then start playing out. And that's exactly what I found myself doing. It took a while, but surrounding yourself with the right people. So me surrounding myself with the right people was absolutely huge for me, because when you surround yourself with the right people, sometimes, especially in your mentors and stuff like that, people can help see your blind spots. There's a saying that Les Brown, those of you that know Les Brown, I love this saying that he says, you can't always read the label when you're trapped in the box. So I couldn't even see my own shit. I couldn't see it. I couldn't see, how much I was kind of, making up excuses that I wanted to, have this success as an entrepreneur, and, I wanted to step out the corporate world and stuff like that. But, I wasn't real. There was elements within me that wasn't real. Like, I'm kind of trying to cut corners. I'm looking for all these get rich quick. Oh, all you got to do. And I'm jumping on board all these network marketing companies, multi-level marketing companies, and all the rest of it, saying, yeah, well, the thing is, all you got to do, but not realizing the level of detail. I didn't realize myself, you know what, Jay, you're not detailed. You're not, my level of detail just was not there. I'm trying to cut corners. I'm trying to wing it. I'm trying to wing my way to success. Cutting corners, left, right, and center. All I got to do. And then I had somebody sit me down and said, Jay, you are full of bullshit. I'm like, what? You can't talk to me like that. What the fuck? You can't talk to me like that. I'm full of bullshit. No, I'm nearly there. He's like, how are you nearly there, Jay? Come on, let's keep it real. How are you nearly there? And again, the reason why I'm saying this, everyone, is because, look, if you're tuning into this, if you want a level of success, well, how close are you really? Like, I want you to be able to, really look at yourselves. How close are you really? Because are we really nearly there? That's what I thought. I'm nearly there. I didn't realize how far away I really was, because I was, caught up in the conscious mind. And, I'm, trying to cut corners. I'm trying to, not be detailed. I'm trying to wing it. because that was elements of my own sabotage. Because if I actually now achieve the success, if I really get there, if I really get it, then again, what does that identity for me now really look like? Because remember, my identity was always to be broke. You know, in my household when we was growing up, there was no money. It was always broke. We don't open the door because, you know, if you open the door, it might be the bailiffs. And if the bailiffs come in, they might take your stuff, Jay. So we don't open the door. You know, so I was always broke. You know, and then obviously living in the squat, and then obviously, all right, starting to, you know, climb my way up in the corporate world, but I'm still just over broke. So that then means now that, all right, now wanting to go on to create, you know, success and, you know, start wanting to do entrepreneurship, all right, fine. But the identity that is really deep within me is that, you know what, Jay, you are broke. So from where that identity was, all right, I am broke. Yes, there might be other opportunities now where I can now start making money, but of course I'm not going to do things properly because that will now change the identity of I am broke. But remember, consciously, the conscious mind, no, I'm nearly there. I'm nearly there. You know, consciously, if I just do this, yeah, I'm just nearly there. But deep down, deep rooted, my identity is you must be broke. You must be. Because that's it. That's what I know. That's what I've always seen. That's what, you know, that's what I have, you know, grown up with. So again, think about this. Again, this is not about me. I want you to be thinking in terms of, look, you know, achieving success, you know, have you got any similar patterns? Because again, we've got to be honest with ourselves and that, you know, you are in whatever situation that you are in. You know, we could be talking about relationships here, the same sort of thing. You know, like, well, hang on a minute, you know, well, why have I not, you know, had the marriage and the 2.4 kids and all this type of stuff? Well, hang on a minute, I've sabotaged myself in these relationships because, you know, I have to sabotage the relationships because, you know, all relationships are destined to fail, of course. That's the conditioning. That is the identity of who I saw myself as deep down, not conscious-minded, not consciously. Consciously, yeah, you don't understand about me, yeah. Consciously, yeah, you don't understand. Consciously, yeah. But the deep inner self, inner demons within ourselves is saying something completely different. And guess what's really running your life? Guess what's really running your life? It's your subconscious, not what's going on in your conscious. It's the subconscious. That's what's really running your mind. That's what's really running your life. That's what's really running it. Really running it. So you've got to tap into what's going on within your own subconscious if you are serious about really stepping out of, you know, elements of who you are and, you know, you want to now achieve different things in your life. You've got to understand the subconscious. Because that's exactly what I had to do. But sometimes we need somebody else to really give us that sort of direction because we can't always see it because we're so trapped and caught up in our ego and this facade of who we actually really want to see ourselves as, so who we really actually want to be. So we get caught up in that facade. And that facade can be bullshit. You know, it can be, it's not real. That facade can be, that, you know, it's not always real. And this is it. This is it. You know, you want to achieve, all right, great, we all do. You know? And what you'll even find sometimes is that if you are fortunate, you know, let's just say, for example, you do get, you know, some opportunities that come your way and you do make you make some money quickly or whatever it may well be. Guess what? You know, there's going to be elements of where you're going to start sabotaging yourself to get rid of that money. Because energetically, you're not a vibrational match to the income or to the money that you've just now fallen into. You're not a vibrational match. So as a result of not being a vibrational match, you must get rid of that money. It's like people when they win the lottery, right? You know, like, yeah, I want to win the lottery. But you do realize, right, as per Google, okay, 90% of people who win the lottery will go back to their same financial situation within less than 10 years, yeah? You know, 90% of people that win the lottery. Now, what is that all about? The reason why is because we're not a vibrational match to the amount of money that we've now just got from the lottery. So that then means we don't feel comfortable with it because it doesn't match our identity. So from where it doesn't match our identity, we've got to spend that money. We've got to spend it. So we've got to now go and buy the expensive cars, the expensive house with the expensive this, the expensive that. However, now all the money, is starting to run out, and, we're finding ourselves, we can't afford the upkeep of the car. So we just got ourselves a nice supercar, but we can't afford to put a new tire on it. Yeah. So we've got to get rid of the car. The house, we can't afford the upkeep of the house anymore. We can't afford these, the lifestyle anymore. So what I'm saying is then it starts dwindling down and down and down all the way until we get back to, that level of the identity, that level of income that we expect because of our identity. And it's like, whoo, right, now I'm back where I'm supposed to be. Now I can feel a lot more comfortable. But then guess what goes on in the conscious mind? Oh, I want to make money, I want to make money, I want to make money. Oh, I really could do with more money. I really could do with more money. And this is it. This is it. So, your success a lot of the time will come down to, really ultimately who you are. But remember the big thing, the big, statement that I love is, who do you need to become? Who did I need to become? Again, I've needed people, in my life to really highlight. And I had somebody, a real strong mentor, real strong. His name was Wilson. And he literally was, Jay, you are full of shit. And at the time, I wanted to knock the guy out. I'm like, who are you talking about? You realize that I'm a Muay Thai black belt? I will kick you in the head. That's what I felt at the time. Of course, I didn't do that. Yeah. But what he was saying to me was, he was telling me the truth. He was telling me the truth of what I needed to hear, but I didn't really want to hear it because my ego was so big. So what is it that you might need to hear? And again, you don't always need to be told in the way that I was told because, a tough love, I needed the tough love. Because of my upbringing, you can't, I grew up in an environment where it's tough. So if something is all molly-coloured and it's all, nice, gently, just stroke me on the head, I'm not going to take it on board. I need the boom, boom, boom. But we've all got different ways of taking on board that information. So what is it that you need? How do you need that message to be put across to you? But remember, if you really want to achieve the success that I know you want to achieve, for example, with people out there, they want to be making more money, they want to be changing their life, they want to be able to create a legacy for their children, they want to be able to, live a more free lifestyle. All right, I get it, I get all of it. And, I even understand, when you see things on the internet, you might see things on Instagram and you see people with the flash watches and the flash cars and the flash this and the flash that. And then you hear people say, look, just do it. Just get out there, just do it. Just get yourself a six pack. Just get out there and do it. Now, look, I'm not knocking people that have got that message to the world because it can be very inspiring. But guess what happens? A lot of the time we might watch these Instagram stuff and it's like, yeah, I feel pumped up, I feel motivated. But then guess what? In a week or two, we're back to the same identity as what we've always been because we haven't dealt with the root cause of what is really stopping us from getting to where it is that we really want to get to. And that is the sabotage within us that, we're not realizing that was formed at the age of 5 years old. And that's it. And that's the reason why, we want to achieve, we want to go to the gym, for example. We want to become more healthy. Yeah. We want to, lose weight, for example. Well, guess what? We go to the gym, we take out a new membership, new year, new me. Yeah, it's January, new year, new me, right? That's it. I'm going to get in shape. But guess what? By February, how many people have now cancelled their gym membership? Or they don't even cancel the gym membership because I'm going to go, right? I'm going to go to the gym so we keep the gym membership running. And I'm going to go. We've got good intentions, but we don't ever really get back to the gym to start really, achieving our goal because, again, it doesn't fit with our identity because, changing that habit of who we are is not always easy. And that's it. So you can have people say, oh, just do this, just do that. Yeah. You'll make all this money, just do this. It becomes a certain type of person that can, just be inspired by that and just do it. Whereas others, this is the reason why the majority of this world would be considered as not financially successful Because, again, changing some of our habits. Remember, you've been living your life. That might be 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years, 60 years, 70 years. You've been living a lot of your life, with certain habits that you might have right here, right now. You've been living your life with a lot of these habits. And then all of a sudden, just because you now, want to make more money in your conscious mind, you've got to remember that, you've got, 40 or 50 years of all of this habits, all of this deep-rooted wiring that is, tuned into, well, I'm broke. The identity is, well, I'm broke. And guess what? It could even be generational, in terms of your parents were broke, their parents were broke, their parents. We're talking like, your 10 generations of being broke. And then, you've got all of that weight on top of you as well. And then all of a sudden, just because you've seen one Instagram reel right now, I want to become successful. Like I say, anyone can be motivated for a day. But if you really want that level of success, we've got to look at the deep-rooted wiring and we've got to rewire that deep-rootedness. And that's where your success comes from, all right? I hope you've enjoyed today's podcast. Believe it or not, I've really, really, really enjoyed sitting here, speaking about this type of stuff, Look, I love all of this, I love, the psychology around what it really takes, because from where, I feel that I've had to sort of really climb from to really get to the position of where it is that I am now, and, of course, we're still on a journey. I'm still on my journey, I'm still on my way. I'm still going through my journey as well, in all aspects, I'm a very spiritual guy, I love my martial arts, I'm still working on my relationships, and all this type of stuff. And I'm still working on, other aspects of success. But one thing of what I know is it all comes from the psychology of who we really are. And if you really want to get to different levels of, of success, then who do you need to become? Keep on asking yourself that question. Who do you need to become? All right? Okay, right. I am going to leave our first podcast right here, okay? Like I say, we are going to be going every single week, okay, on all platforms. So you can see us on Spotify, you can see us on Apple Podcasts, you can also see us on YouTube, and also don't forget to make sure you follow us, subscribe to our podcast, but as well as that, follow us on Instagram, and we're going to be on TikTok and all over the place, okay? So make sure you follow us, all right? Now, in the upcoming podcast of what we've got coming up soon, I've interviewed some of the most successful people, one of the most successful digital marketers in the UK, making tens of millions of pounds, just from literally, starting from zero, all the way to, over 30 million pounds. Okay. I mean, we've got lots of things coming up. We've got, somebody that's done well over £1 million just by, selling online courses around martial arts. We've got Rick coming up, who has created a fantastic brand, and a huge following, teaching people how to become, certain professions, interview techniques and loads of things like that. So we've got loads of content coming up for you, okay? So look, I'm hoping that you tune in every single week, okay? Every week, without fail. And like I say, at some point, feel free to reach out to me. It'd be great to get to know each and every one of you, all of my listeners, all of the subscribers. So feel free to reach out to us at Serious About Success. Check out our website, seriousaboutssuccess.com. You can get an idea of some of the other sort of coaching and training that we do. So anyway, look, I'm rambling on now. So, thank you so much for tuning into our first ever Serious About Success podcast, okay? It's been absolutely fantastic. It's been an absolute honor and a pleasure, and I will look forward to doing more of these podcasts very, very, very soon. Until the next time, everyone, thank you so much and take care. Thank you. Bye-bye. Cheers.